Welcome to Animal Atlas. Come with us around the globe and explore the animal world and its jungle animals and desert creatures. We'll meet wildlife on the savannah and see our underwater friends. And animals from the Arctic Circle. Anywhere, everywhere animals live. It's always an adventure. Today on Animal Atlas, we're going to venture into the world of the South and Southeast Asian rainforest, where the canopy of trees is dense and beautiful, and a little bit mysterious. Down below, we might find leopards, and pythons, and tigers. But here, high up in the very tops of the trees, it's the kingdom of the monkeys. Hey, that's no monkey. That's a gibbon. Fooled you? Almost fooled me too. At first glance, a gibbon can be mistaken for a monkey. Take a look at this squirrel monkey from South America. Then at this Javan gibbon. Both are agile and dexterous climbers. And both are slender and strong. Okay, and both are cute too. Though the Javan gibbon is about 3 times the size of a squirrel monkey, there's definitely a resemblance. But the gibbon is an ape, while the squirrel monkey is, well, a monkey. A New World monkey, to be precise. Meaning this little guy hails from South and Central America and not Africa or Asia like Old World monkeys. Who's an Old World monkey? Meet the mandrill and the Hamadryas baboon. They're Old World and not afraid to let anybody know about it. Are you thinking that it's the tail that makes the monkey? Gibbon, no tail. New World monkey, tail. Old World monkey, tail. Ape, no tail. Wait a minute. Old World monkey, no tail. That theory just doesn't hold water. So tails are not the answer to the how do you tell a monkey from an ape question. And if you're thinking that monkeys are smaller than apes, think again. This mighty mandrill tips the scale at close to 95 pounds, while this handsome Hulak gibbon only weighs about 15 pounds. Size is not the answer. Let's take a step back. Apes and monkeys belong to the group called primates. There are more than 600 species of primates in the world. From apes to monkeys, to humans, yes, we're primates, to prosimians or pre-monkeys, like the lovely lemur. We've already met some monkeys, Old World and New, and a member of the great apes. Yes, besides the orangutan, great apes would include chimpanzees, gorillas, and bonobos. While gibbons, like our friend the Javan gibbon, or the white-cheeked gibbon, or the pileated gibbon, or the agile gibbon, or the mighty siamang, are called lesser apes. Or at least they were called lesser apes until relatively recently. Now, the phrase smaller ape is used to differentiate the gibbons and siamangs from the great apes. Why the change in terms? The word lesser, knock it off already! The word lesser is defined in the dictionary as not as great in size. But there's a second definition, not as significant. No one in the world, least of all any of the great apes, consider the gibbon insignificant, so hence the name change. Lesser is now a bad word in the primate world. Great and smaller are just fine when used to describe apes. So what does differentiate apes from monkeys? Apes rely more on vision than smell. All apes have very expressive, almost human-like eyes. Soulful, baleful, curious, afraid. We can recognize the expressions in those incredible eyes. Accordingly then, an ape's nose is short and broad, unlike the snout-like super sniffer noses that monkeys possess. Some monkey snouts, in fact, almost resemble a dog's long snout. Apes are capable of using tools and using language, though sometimes a gesture is universal in its meaning. When we come back to Animal Atlas, we'll pay a visit to the Gibbons Conservation Center. But first, let's see if you can guess this animal fact. In general, the easiest way to tell an ape from a monkey is by looking at its A. Feet, B. Tail, C. Arms, or D. Head. The answer coming up when we return to Animal Atlas. We're back. Did you guess the right answer to our question? In general, the easiest way to tell an ape from a monkey is by looking at its... The answer is C, arms. See these arms? Wow, long and strong. Yes, great apes like the orangutan and less, smaller apes like the gibbons have long arms for climbing, swinging, and basic arboreal or tree-dwelling living. Sure, these squirrel monkeys live in trees, but see how their four limbs are close in size? Take a look at the mandrill. His four limbs make him look four-legged, though clearly mandrills have hands and feet, and not four paws like a big cat or wild dog. The gibbon's arms are very long. In fact, their arms are more than 1.5 times longer than their legs. A gibbon could no more walk on all fours than we can, which is why the amazing gibbon takes the title of the only non-human primate who walks upright. See this? Wow, this is no lesser ape. Okay, the great orangutan walks sorta upright too. But it's the gibbons who are the two-legged primate wonders. The truth is, people rarely get to see gibbons walking on the ground. Where they live in the wild, gibbons live in the treetops, where it's safe from ground-dwelling or lower-living predators. They swing from branch to branch in a hand-over-hand style called brachiating, using their opposable thumb to grip or hold branches or vines. Amazingly, gibbons can leap distances of 40 feet and at speeds up to 35 miles per hour, while 100 feet above the ground. Not even the greatest of apes can do that. It's a real treat to be able to see these acrobats of the primate world in action. And to meet the gibbons, we've come here to the Gibbons Conservation Center in Southern California. At the GCC, it's the world's second largest gibbon population outside their countries of origin. these animals aren't living here just for our enjoyment. Director Alan Mutnick and his staff of dedicated volunteers are trying to ensure the survival and preservation of these special animals by providing them with a captive haven where they can live and thrive and raise families and remark on what they think of our visiting camera crew. Enclosures are specially designed for the needs of the gibbons to provide shade and space and things to swing on and climb on. Since in the wild, gibbons would spend half the day traveling through the forest to search for food, eating as they go, these gibbons are fed 9 times a day. Each meal is specially designed to be nutritious and interesting to eat. Mealtime provides for a little gibbon-human interaction, though gibbons tend to favor gibbon-to-gibbon exchanges, even when there is no gibbon friend around. Here, steamed yams and carrots and cauliflower are prepped for an upcoming meal, and the loving care has resulted in happy gibbons and growing families. Why is this important? Here's a good example. See this baby Javan gibbon? Her name is Isabella, and she lives here with her parents and 2 siblings. Only about 5,000 Javan gibbons are left in the wild, so little Isabella is an important addition to an endangered species. As is this 5-month-old siamang, and this 7th-month-old pileated gibbon. Yes, it's been a good year for families at the Gibbon Conservation Center. When we come back to Animal Atlas, we'll take a closer look at gibbon family life. But first, let's see if we can guess this next animal fact. Gibbons do not sing, A, to warn others of danger, B, to set the boundaries of their territory, C, to maintain pair bonds, or D, for their supper. Don't go away. The answer coming up right after this on Animal Atlas. Did you guess the right answer to our question? Gibbons do not sing. The answer is D. They do not sing for their supper. But gibbons do sing and whoop and hoot to warn others of approaching danger, to maintain pair bonds, and especially every morning to establish their territorial boundaries. Let's listen. What are they saying to rival gibbons in the area? We live here, and there's only enough food for our family, so don't come into our territory. It takes between 30 and 300 acres to sustain a gibbon family, and they are very protective of that range. There are other ways that creatures mark their territories. Where lemurs use scent, we humans prefer fences and doors, while gibbons use song. Gibbons, in fact, can sing and swing at the same time. Wow. Other animals sing. Birds come to mind. But many songs are mating calls, and not so much territorial fencing. But perhaps the most amazing songster in the gibbon world, or the animal kingdom for that matter, is the siamang. The siamang is that largest and darkest of the gibbons, and the loudest of all Asian primates. The voice of the siamang can be heard 2 miles away. Of course, they have a natural advantage.
What's that?
This amazing vocal sac inflates to about the size of the siamang's head, giving the animal a deep and resonant song that drowns out everybody else. In the animal kingdom, a number of animals live in large groups, while others live a more solitary life. But gibbons are all about the family. Gibbons are monogamous, and they mate for life. In the wild, they live in small monogamous families composed of a mated pair and up to 4 offspring. And this is how most gibbons are allowed to live here at the GCC. How extraordinary is monogamy among primates? Less than 4% of those 600+ species are true to their one mate. From our human perspective, gibbons are the great romantics of the ape world. Gibbons, like all apes, help family members with their grooming, checking coats for parasites or flaking skin. But there's also time for a manicure, a facial. And when a family member is not around, those long arms come in handy when seeking to scratch a persistent itch. Of course, social grooming is also a behavior exhibited by monkeys. Just check out how much this hamadryas baboon is enjoying this. In the wild, a female gibbon usually has a baby every 2 to 3 years. The baby nestles up to its mother for warmth and feeds on her milk for the first year or 2. But the youngsters will stay with their parents until they are 6 to 8 years old. See how this pileated gibbon mother holds her knees up so her baby is cradled against her body? This keeps the baby from accidentally slipping out of her grasp. Interestingly, gibbons do not build sleeping nests like the great apes. They sleep sitting up, with their arms wrapped around their knees and their heads hanging to their laps. See those calluses on this gibbon's rear? Those are called ischial callosities, fleshy, nerveless pads for comfortable sitting on hard surfaces. And if you think we've seen them before, besides on the gibbons, these seat cushions are found on Old World monkeys like the mandrill and the hamadryas baboon. Where the gibbon's ischial callosities are discreet, however, the mandrills are so bright as to be, embarrassing to us humans. But in monkey world, a highly visible rear is easy to follow through the dense jungle foliage. It's the sign of a true leader. Where the male monkey is the bigger and stronger, it's the female gibbon who usually is the bigger, and she is the dominant one in the family. How do you tell a male gibbon from a female? In some species, the male is dark and the female is blonde. In others, though the adults may look alike, it's always the female who is nursing the baby. While we're here, let's ask Gibbon Conservation Center Director, Alan Mutnick.
I've been doing this for 30 years. This is a childhood dream of mine.
To tell us what we should all know about our planet's smaller, not lesser apes, the gibbons.
There's a species that really needs our assistance because, they're dying in the wild. Some of the rarest primates in the wild are gibbons. They're the most acrobatic of all the apes, of all the primates. They're very, very active. They're very silly, very playful, very family-oriented. What's also important about a gibbon is they do have alarm calls. Those signify that there's an intruder in the area, so the other animals realize it too, and it sounds very alarming. So in some sense, a gibbon could be like the flagship of the forest, that if you hear no more songs, there are no more gibbons, there are no more forest.
Let's hope that never, ever happens. Well, hello there, little fella. How's your day going? Really? You don't have an extra carrot, do you? Don't go away. Animal Atlas will be right back. Until next time on Animal Atlas. Once again, we've traveled the globe, from North and South America to Africa and Asia to Australia and every fascinating place in between. We've met all kinds of incredible animals and learned some important facts about their ability to survive and flourish on our planet. And with our help, we'll make sure they're around for a long time to come. Join us next week for another amazing adventure on Animal Atlas.